Oh, that's good for the grinder. All right, well, we are back up at the bus on a Friday. The boys had the day off, and this is like the first absolutely beautiful day of spring. Max, what do you think about it? So, Max is going to rock a t-shirt today, and I am going to look at opening up the back passenger corner of the bus, and I think I might start trying to figure out skin. Note the trying part and the figuring out part. I don't know how far we'll get today, but this was way too beautiful of a day to waste it just hanging out in down in Massachusetts. So we are up here and we are going to get stuff started, if not done. All right, let's have a learn from my mistakes moment, shall we? We did a 20-inch roof raise. We got to that number by leaving a little bit of room for solar panels and not wanting the bus to ever be more than 12 feet 6 inches, which is a common height for trucks. It's a good height. It's going to be fine eventually. However, may not be the best height if anyone else is ever doing a roof raise. So I have this sheet of sheet metal. It's 4 feet by 8 feet. I have it hanging off the bus by ratchet straps, which is a pretty common method of doing this. I have mine bridled up above. Don't actually recommend that. I might actually try to add another bridle if I do another one of these sheets. I did a bridle just means that they're connected in like a Y shape at the top. It makes these things want to slide in, so it would have been better if I just gone straight over like rib to rib. So if you're ever doing this, get ratchet straps that are long enough to do the whole length. This one's a little bit short, which is why I have them bridled. Neither here nor there. The part that I actually wanted to talk about was this. 20 inches. This is now just about exactly. I can get it there if I hang on. Excuse me. There. So this is just about exactly at this point, which means that that's a place that could be a leak. I'd like it to come. I would have liked it to have come down to like here, but instead I have it coming down to here, and it just barely fits up there. In fact, I don't even think it's all the way up into that crevice. I went for the 20-inch roof raise, and that's where I'm staying, obviously. But if anybody else is thinking this, 16 would have been a real easy number to work with. At least in that range. My little public service statement, you know. The more you know. All right, that's my 2 cents. I'm going to continue to see about fitting this thing up. I'm going to be honest, I don't really have a plan right now. I'm just seeing where things fit, how they go together. I'm kind of in Lego mode right now. Let's actually go take a look at it from the inside, shall we? So this is a better view of that steel from the inside. You can see there is the hook that's holding the steel up. There's the other one. You'll see that up here, it is just barely, it's just not leveled yet. But right here, you can see that's the steel poking up, and this is about an inch of extra space, and up here, there's about another inch that I'd hoped to bury into. So, I would have been well served to have done a slightly lower roof raise. And now I will figure out what my next plan is. All right, so I got 4 clecos in along the bottom of this panel. It is now actually standing up here by itself. Well, via cleco, but what are you gonna do? And now I'm starting to think about spacing on these, where they want to sit, the hole spacing. So I thought that I would go back and look at what Thomas originally did. You know, they probably know a thing or two about buses. So I grabbed one of the old window cap things. And I'm going to start from 2 inches here. I'm going to measure from this edge. And that's going to give me, let's see if you guys can see it. So if I start 2 here with this hole and I come out to this edge, it gives me 9.5. So I've got about a 7.5 inch spacing. And if I move this to 10, 17.5. And if I move that to 20, 27.5. So Thomas uses a 7.5 inch on center spacing for the trim around the windows. That is weird. 7.5 inches. I'm gonna check this stuff in a second and to see if it's consistent on the bus. I know that this is less full, or this is narrower. But I might try to use one of those window caps flipped over as sort of a guide. We'll see. But interesting, huh? I also started my first 4 holes a little bit low, which means now I have to decide if I want to. I have to decide what I want to do. One of my thoughts had been that I could, originally I thought I'd use these holes again, and I could, except another fun fact, and I'm not complaining about this, it just is what it is. If you notice, this spacing is what it is, but up here, this dives in. And it did that because I poured a lot of heat into this weld. And when the weld on that side cooled, it yanked the metal over. And that happened on a lot of these ribs. So, I mean, they're still solid as all get out. But the holes now kind of take a little detour. So it may not be the right thing to do to use the holes that are on the ribs as they stand. These are the details. This is why this takes so long. I do want it to match, so maybe I'll move these 4 Clecos that I already have in, and then I can go back and, oh, that's good for the grinder. Maybe I'll move these 4 Clecos that I have in, and then I can go back and just Bondo over those when we get ready to prep for paint. Decisions. I'm going to do a little more work. Well, it has taken some creative, and you can read that as questionable, application of ladders, drills, straight edges, Clecos, and brute force to get this first panel hung. It's hung up there with Clecos, which are these things. I think I've talked about them before. They dig one out. They are super handy for this type of thing because they are very temporary. So I have the 1/8 inch size, and what they are is they are this little thing. You put them in the pliers like this, and when you squeeze the pliers, that little proboscis thing comes out, goes through your hole, and pulls it back. So mine are 1/8 inch, which did lead to one slight fun thing. The existing holes in the bus, tool belt. The existing holes in the belt in the bus were not 1/8 inch. They were like 3/16, which is why a bunch of these are Clecoed from the inside out. So the shoulder of the Cleco is sitting on the 3/16 hole, and the 1/8 inch hole I drilled got the proboscis. Let me go ahead and just flip this around and show you. So it is hung. I have not trimmed off this back corner yet, nor have I cut out the hole for the windows, and that is by design, because the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go inside the bus with a marker and scribe it so that I have it in the right place. I also need to drill holes in the top and maybe at the bottom too. I also need to put some backing plates in, not here or here, because those are going to be windows. I need to put a backer in at the bottom down here, so I have something to mount into. I just forgot to do that. So I might put that backer plate in, and then I might draw those lines, and then I actually have to take this, and then I have to drill the top and the bottom holes. So there's a few things left to do, but this is in fact actually progress. And I only broke one drill bit. Pretty happy about that. So for the first time, I just tried to do a fence with those bower shears. I thought maybe if I got the fence up high enough, I could get up against that flat part of the shear body. It failed miserably. Both times I tried it, it just dove in across the line. Look at that. Now if I back this out, you'll see it just straight across the line. And then, you know, I stopped when it started jamming up against the fence. Don't get me wrong, I really wanted it to work, but yeah, these hand shears, the power hand shears, just don't do fences. So looks like I'm going to eyeball it and just try to be careful. All right, we're back up to the bus today. It has been spring for just under an hour. When we had left, I had this area covered in a temporary sheet of steel. I think we're using 20 gauge. And it was held up by clecos. I have pulled that down, and I drilled all the holes. I drilled almost all the holes that I think we're going to need to hold that thing up. And then I pulled it down. Before I did that, I had traced on the back side all of the places where it needs to be cut. So it's sort of like an auto scribing thing, or I don't know. I'm using the actual bus to determine where the cuts go. This is where one of those plates that I welded on juts out, and I can just go straight through there, but leaving myself a note. So the next step is going to be to bust out those bower shears and trim this down. So, got the first cut done, or the first kind of set of cuts on the first sheet. Let me show you what I did. I just really quick nipped off this corner here. Might have to sand that into a little more of a straight line there, but kind of follow that. That was a tough scribe line because it was hard to get the exact shape. So there'll be some sanding, some fairing that has to happen afterwards. I might sand this a little flatter in a second. Over here, I messed up and I cut on the wrong side of the line. Right here, cut on the wrong side of the line, had to restart. And I've got this delightful little blood drawer. So I'll have to clean all this up. It'll get covered by whatever I used to kind of finish the window, so I'm not worried about it, but oops. Well, fun fact, that was a tough connection to make right here, so that's a little dimpled. I'm hoping that's going to get covered by a gutter. Also, this is a little bit of a waviness in this line. Again, gutter. So that's the first sheet cut. I'm probably going to stop the camera and try to hang this thing back up and see how we actually did. Well, I almost forgot to do a wrap-up. I got very carried away. So, where did we get today? Well, if I turn this around, hopefully you guys can see this. I have actually got the first panel in place. If you look up in the corner there, come on, look up. Look up, camera. You can see that we cut that in to match the existing rear cap. I have put in screws everywhere. Again, these might get replaced with rivets, but honestly, probably not. You can see a little bit of Sikaflex squeeze out. I did put Sikaflex on all of the bus ribs and members that we put in there in advance, so that that'll hopefully keep some of the rattle down. Then we screwed everything in, obviously. And that's it. We have attached something to the bus. Well, we attached something that will show to the bus for the first time. Obviously, we have a ton more work to do. But it's very exciting for us. And I hope the rest of this will go a little faster, because now we have a clue. Yeah, mostly, we have a clue. There's a lot of figuring out on this one, and I'm hoping that for the next panel that we put up, which should be pretty easy because it's going to go over where the boys' bunks will be. I'm hoping that panel is going to be a lot faster, because now I have sort of a plan. But that is it for this week. A little bit of progress, but exciting progress for us. Let's see. I would be remiss if I didn't use the like and subscribe meme. So if you want to do that, now's the time. Next week, I think it's going to be more of the same if I can get up here. Work's getting a little busy, so we'll see how much I can get up here. But yeah, that's it for this week. I'm pretty happy. A lot better than last week. And as far as weeks go, have a great week. And I'll see you soon.